I'll start with the topic.
Sure.
Okay. So the topic is aseismic structures. In basic terms, we know it as earthquake-resistant buildings. And we know that due to the change in the environment, we are facing earthquakes in locations where they did not even appear in the past. For example, Delhi. In recent times, we have seen that there have been not severe, but multiple earthquakes in Delhi. So that is because of the change in the environment, change in nature, continuous change. Hence, aseismic structures become the need of the hour. I like to quote it by, it is an attempt which is made by an engineer to tackle nature.
Yes.
So now we should understand where the word seismic comes from. Seismic is nothing but waves that are generated when two blocks of earth suddenly slip past one another and an energy is released. In this diagram, you can see that these are the two parts of earth. Is my cursor visible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so these are the two parts of the earth which are colliding, and due to that, there's a crack which is being formed on the surface of the earth, which is called as fault scar. And just above the focus is where from the energy is released. These yellow lines are the seismic waves that are being released. Just above the focus is the epicenter. Epicenter is the point where the impact of earthquake is maximum. And the earthquake is caused by the rapid movement of tectonic plates. We actually, the tectonic plates keep moving every day, every point of time. They never stop. But due to the sudden movement of them, we face an earthquake. And not even an earthquake, even sometimes tsunami, because the same concept is happening in the bedrock of the sea, which leads to tsunami. Okay, so need for earthquake resistant structures. Now we know that earthquakes are one of the most destructive forces on earth. And there are two major reasons why we need buildings that can resist earthquakes. Number one, we have to save lives of the people living in those buildings. Number two, we cannot waste the money that we have spent on those buildings. If I'm building a tall skyscraper and I'm investing $1 billion in it, I wouldn't expect it to fall the next day because of an earthquake. So that is a wastage of material, wastage of manpower, and most importantly, we have to save the lives as well. And the other thing is, during an earthquake, the damage is not caused by the earthquake, but it is caused by the collapse of buildings or structures. And that is why the people inside them, they die. Hence, earthquake-proof buildings is a must. So before understanding the solutions, we need to analyze the problems, that how earthquakes impact buildings. So when an earthquake occurs, the seismic waves, they hit the bottom of the foundation of the building, the foundation of the building. And when we construct the towers, when we construct structures, we construct it in a way that it can face or it can bear the vertical loads, but it is not that much convenient to bear the horizontal loads. And during an earthquake, uh, the building starts to move horizontally, due to which the bottom of the building moves horizontally, whereas the top of the building, it remains constant.
Yes.
And because of the change in the bottom and the top, the building starts to rupture and it collapses. So here's just a fact that buildings like the collapsing buildings cost $2.1 billion on an average every year, which is a huge cost when you're constructing, buildings or even housing or commercial towers. Okay, so on the left, you can see it's the Burj Khalifa, the tallest skyscraper, the tallest building, 830 meters tall and erect. So we should have a question in our mind that why is it still erect and how is it still erect? It is in a place where there is so many sandstorms and wind. Still, it is able to survive. So basically, there's a simple principle behind this, that every force has an equal and opposite reaction. We have all studied it in our past in school, and that is the same logic that is being applied over here. So we have to create a force inside the building itself, which will counteract the seismic waves. That is the main concept. You have to oppose or you have to counteract the force which are being caused by the earthquake to resist that structure. So we look at the solutions, we look at the methods how which we can safeguard a building. Number one would be create a flexible foundation, or basically isolating the base. In this visual on right hand side, you can see that the blue points are flexible pads, which are isolating the structure from the rest of the building, isolating the structure from the rest of the ground. So these base isolators, they remain stable and they absorb these seismic waves, which are coming from the earthquake or the crack. And they absorb it and they keep rest of the building intact and safe. This is one of the most generic method that is being used for many years in skyscrapers and other tall buildings. Coming to the second point, okay, one more thing. On the left hand side, you can see the image that if a base isolator or a flexible pad is not there, you can see the building is tilting towards the right when the ground is moving. And in the next image, you can see that when base isolators are applied, they are absorbing the impact, they are moving, keeping the building intact. So this actually explains how this whole system works. And on the right hand side, there's an image of what a flexible foundation or a flexible pad looks like. Yeah. So the second point is, yeah, sir.
It's okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So we know that there are shock absorbers which are present in our cars, two-wheelers, scooties, and you'll be amused that we use the same concept of shock absorbers in the construction buildings or the structures. The thing is, shock absorbers absorb the sudden movement. For example, in vehicle, they absorb the sudden movement and they keep the vehicle and the passengers inside the vehicle safe. Similarly, in buildings, they'll again absorb the seismic waves, they'll absorb the impact, and they'll keep the building and the people inside the building safe. So this again has two methods. One is vibrational control devices. The second is pendulum power. Okay. So on the left hand side image, this piston looking shape is called a damper. So these dampers are placed between the columns and beams at each floor of the building. So when there's an earthquake, these piston/dampers, they absorb energy and they push against the oil. So this orange fluid inside is a silicone oil which they use, and this absorbs the impact and keeps the rest of the building intact. So you can see that there are various shock absorbers at each and every floor. On the right hand side is the pendulum power. This big round circular thing is again called a damper. It is a circular damper, and it is suspended by steel cables, just like a pendulum in those clocks which we have at home. So this is primarily used in tall skyscrapers, say 500 meters, 600 meters high. And when the building starts to wave because of the earthquake, this ball starts moving with the same frequency as the seismic waves. Since we know that it is a wave, it has a frequency. So when this ball matches the frequency of the waves, it starts to move, which keeps the rest of the building intact. Over here, you can see that on the left-hand side, it's a 101 floor building, the Taipei 101 in Taiwan. And on the right-hand side, it has a damper. This is the world's largest damper that is currently placed on the top floor of this building. And it reduces, it reduces the damage by 40%. This is a fact mentioned over here. And it is the world's largest damper, 660 metric ton. And these are the steel cables which are used for suspension.
Great.
So the third is reinforcement, reinforce the building structure. This is the most traditional method that is being used from the oldest times. And this is further divided into three different types. One is the shear wall. Shear wall is nothing but use of diagonal cross braces. In this visual, you can see these are the diagonal cross braces. So when there's a shear force acting on the building, or when there's a seismic wave or an earthquake impact on the building, it will bend, but these braces will prevent it from collapsing or rupturing. So even in this GIF, you can see that the force which is acting, orange and yellow, that shows the direction of the forces and how it is protecting and safeguarding the building. And since these are made of steel, they have the ability to support compression as well as tension. So they counteract and push these forces back to the foundation. The second is diaphragms. Diaphragm is nothing but the center position of the structure consisting the slab. So over here, this portion, the upper one, the floor slab is actually the diaphragm. It is the slab of the building. And what it does is it transfers the load from the center of the building, from the floor slab to the columns. And these columns again take the load and the force to the foundation, hence safeguarding the whole structure. And the third and the last method of reinforcement is moment resisting frames. So in this visual, you can see that there are joints. These are the pins and joints which are used, and these are the beams and column. So this is the column, this is the beam of the structure. So it is bending, but it is still coming back to its original position after the impact. So they provide flexibility to the building and they allow the columns and beams to bend, keeping the joint rigid. And we have to safeguard the joints because that is the most crucial part. So this is the fourth and the final point. Shield buildings from vibration. This is still something that is in books. It's a theory. It hasn't been implemented yet, and the research is still going on by scientists and engineers. So this method aims to deflect the seismic waves with the help of underground rings. So this is the building, and these are the underground rings. These rings are 3 feet beneath the surface. So when there's a seismic wave coming in, it's going to deflect and it won't impact the building. In all the previous cases that we saw, the earthquake was actually impacting the building, but this is still a phenomenon in which they say that the earthquake won't hit the building. It will turn around and go from the other side. But this still hasn't come to practical use till now. Okay.
Yes.
So earthquakes in India, this is a topic I think we should cover because in India, we see that zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5, they comprise of 60% of the land. And zone 3, 4, 5 meaning moderate to severe. Seismic zones mean moderate to severe chances of earthquake. So if places like Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, where there are places which are more cosmopolitan, if these places are under zone 3 or 4, then I guess we should have this seismic structure methods and these techniques in our country, in our skyscrapers. Because we don't know, because maybe after 20 years, after 50 years, a tsunami can hit Mumbai or an earthquake can be severe in Delhi. So we are still not sure about that. Hence, we need to take the precautions. And on the right-hand side, there are these IS codes, which cover all the seismic codes that are there and all the points related to earthquakes. So there's IS 1893, which is basically criteria for earthquake resistance. 4326 covers the monolithic RCC subjected to seismic force, basically all the carved structures. 13827 mentions the earthen buildings. 13828 goes for the masonry low strength buildings, the buildings that were built in the past, say 30, 40 years before time. And how are they supposed to handle the earthquakes? And 13920, IS 13920 is RCC subjected to seismic strength. That is the ductile detailing of RCC subjected to seismic strength. So these are the, if anyone wants to understand more about these or know about the materials that are being used, then they can find it out on these. And that is it. I would just like to conclude by saying we cannot stop an earthquake, neither we can create a structure that will be 100% foolproof that it won't be affected by the earthquake. These are just methods. These are the best that engineers are developing or trying to safeguard their construction. That is it.
Wow.
And life as well.
Correct.
Great.
Absolutely.
Wow. Can you all just have a huge hands raise here?
Yes, great.
So, sir, your comments first.
Hemang,
Yes,
first of
sir.
all, thank you very much selecting such a nice topic and totally ignored. Actually, this is actually main topic is for a consultant. Actually, RCC consultant, they should must go through this your last fourth one, and that is superb. Huh? I'll also contact tomorrow. Tomorrow only I'll contact my RCC consultant for this. That last fourth one is great one. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Great.
so much. Thank you.